let me tell you why we're here on Capitol Hill. We are joined with members of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. Now, these are people who come from all different walks of life. They've been sharing their stories with me all morning. But they come here on the Hill today for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to lobby for something near and dear to their hearts: pancreatic cancer research. Lizzie Fletcher is the Democratic candidate running in Texas's 7th congressional district. She was joined here earlier today with former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords and her husband Mark Kelly, all of them advocating for gun control legislation, something that they're using to target voters as an issue that they want to see implemented in Congress.
Here at the National Zoo, it's not just about animals on this Earth Day, but it's about families on this Easter Monday, a big tradition in the D.C. community that goes back decades. Erica King joins us now, one of our producers who spent the morning talking with African-American families here at the zoo on Earth Day. Erica, great to see you. You were telling us that this is a big deal in the community here at the zoo on Earth Day. Tell us why.
Happy Easter Monday, guys.
Yeah, hi.
So I find this so fascinating because this tradition began back in 1878. According to the Smithsonian National Museum of African American Culture and History, they began this tradition because African American families worked a lot on Easter Sunday, so they allowed them to celebrate Easter Sunday on Monday. And also during the segregation era, African American families were not allowed to celebrate the annual White House Easter egg roll. So again, the zoo opened its doors.
Fascinating.
And
this is the day that they came to celebrate. You caught up with some of the people that were here celebrating today. Let's meet some of those folks.
We heard Washington Zoo is the best place to be for Easter Monday.
Is this kind of been like a tradition for your group to come here every year for Easter Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of animals have you seen so far?
Bald eagle.
You saw a bald eagle? Wow, was it big?
I saw some pandas and a zebra right behind me. I've been here for an hour or so, and I had a really good time here. It feels good not being in school.
So many kids, they're so cute.
They were, and the last girl, Chloe, her mom actually told me that she was a child that celebrated Easter Monday, so she's passing down that tradition with her daughter.
A lot of families here today as well, holding those conservation signs, celebrating conservation as well. Thank you so much.
I'm Luke Barr here at Grammys on the Hill.
And I'm Erica King.
And we are talking to celebrities, and we are talking to members of Congress about this event, about this great advocacy event that happens every year that brings together celebrities and lawmakers to fight for music legislation, such as the Music Modernization Act, which passed last year.
We're just beginning. In 2014, I called for unity within the industry and that we put together what we call the Music Bus Bill. The MMA has turned out to be that.
And there's been so many artists that we've seen here tonight, coming through here tonight. All of them are very excited. They are coming to this event tonight grateful that they get to be recognized for their advocacy.
And they want to make clear music legislation is important to them, and it is something that is near and dear to their heart. This is their livelihoods we're talking about here.
Absolutely. I spoke to Yolanda Adams, and she said she feels great to know that Congress has her back, and representatives in Congress, bipartisan effort, that to know that they are advocating for the same issue that she so heavily, cares about.
It's amazing. We've become good old friends here. I've been here for the last 7 times, and to know that we have garnered relationships and also educated.
And you talk about honorees. We got Kristen Chenoweth on camera, and what matters to her is that her theater in Oklahoma is getting recognized.
It's really cool to be included with such an extinguished group of ladies and gentlemen who have made their mark, not just in music, but literally how they want to be remembered. And a few years ago, I opened a theater in my hometown, and we have a camp now, and I hopefully want to turn it into a school. And tonight, they just are recognizing that work that I've been doing, and it's very much appreciated. I just want the lawmakers and legislation to recognize that arts does have so much power.
That is a
Amazing.
big deal for us.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And we're seeing all type of outfits here tonight.
All
I love
type.
it.
Wow, there's a lot of outfits here.
Okay, now you look amazing.
Thank you, thank you, thank
I have to ask you, who are you wearing?
I am wearing a couture design. Her name is Monica Velez from Stitches Couture in Houston.
It's DC, but
Red carpet.
glamour.
Glamour. Very glamour. All right, well, for Luke Barr
And Erica King.
all right, we will, this is ABC News Live. Thank you for watching.
I'm Erica King here in Washington, D.C., where 5 Chinese American World War II veterans were just honored the Congressional Gold Medal. Now, here today to recognize them was Deputy Secretary James Byrne, Secretary Betsy DeVos, and Secretary Elaine Chao. All of them were here today as part of the initial White House administration effort to recognize a law that was put into place last year, enabling Chinese American World War II veterans to receive the Congressional Gold Medal. Now, all of the veterans here today come from different branches of the military, like the Army, U.S. Navy, and U.S. Air Force. One of the veterans, LCC2, is actually the highest ranked and the oldest among the group. She actually just celebrated her 100th birthday in September.
I'll wear it when I go out, or maybe just to impress the other folks that live in the retirement community.
Now, like Elsie, all of them express their deepest gratitude to receive such a high honor in this nation. Now, they won't receive their physical medal until October. I'm Erica King here at the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, and you're watching ABC News Live.
I want to bring in our Erica King, our reporter here on ABC News Live, who spent the day out with some of the organizers and meeting with some of those folks. Erica, who did you meet out there?
So I met 2 great men, one who was a service member of the Navy and one who was a 11-year Army veteran. They both started cycling. One, Jordan Lowe, it was his first time doing this event. Basically, they were getting fitted today for this cycling event called the Soldier Ride. The Soldier Ride is an annual event hosted by the Wounded Warriors Project. The Wounded Warriors Project is an organization that kind of helps military members transition into everyday life. They've raised $1.3 billion for service members, veterans, and their families. So they were doing
Great
that today.
stuff, both for physical wounds and emotional
Yes,
wounds. You
absolutely.
caught up with some of them and put together a nice piece. Let's meet some of these fellows participating in the ride.
Was introduced to Soldier Ride in 2011, and it quite literally saved my life. I was in the Army for 11 years and wounded in Iraq in 2006. And because of those injuries, I was medically retired. And that's really when the mental and emotional trauma from war really set in. I was really under the impression that I couldn't do things because of my injury, but it was really my mind and my emotional mindset that was holding me back. And Soldier Ride has helped me realize my full potential.
This is my first time. I'm very excited, very excited. It's been on my radar for a long time. Every day is it's a great feeling to be alive and to have the opportunity to work for what I love the most, and that's to serve this country. And events like these give service members hope. We all have a very common ground understanding and a camaraderie to recover emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And I believe that if you can channel the power of your inner self, your spirit, you can really overcome whatever prognosis is deemed by professional medical doctors. And if you have that hope and the inner spirit to work and to get better, you can overcome anything.
Really neat to see that. Very nicely done.
Thank
So
you.
when are they riding?
They are gearing up to ride tomorrow.
Okay.
They're doing a 15 to 20 mile excursion. I know.
Oh my gosh.
So they were getting fitted today to find, equipment that is suitable to make them feel comfortable for this journey.
And the 2 characters we met in your piece was so fascinating. A reminder, Mary Alice, always that our veterans, the wounded veterans, physically wounded, but also so many of them also have unseen, invisible wounds.
Exactly, invisible wounds. I think that's so important to remember. It's hard sometimes for those veterans to talk about it, and so we have to keep talking about it to make sure that people don't feel alone.
And
one of the
veterans,
great reasons the vet, yeah.
And both veterans that I spoke to today suffered with PTSD and depression.
Important reminder. Thank you so much, Erica, for bringing us that story. It was terrific, and of course, we'll keep an eye on them when they go to meet the Trumps at the White House on Thursday.
Now, we know you're very successful. How does it feel to be awarded something like this?
Well, first of all, when you're doing the work, you really don't think about, how it's going to affect other people down the road or right at that moment. You just know that you're singing from your heart, you're writing from your heart, producing from your heart, and then also advocating from your heart. So for me, that was the reward already. And then when they called and said, hey, we want to honor you, I'm like, for what? But it feels so good to be, chosen, to know that we have garnered relationships and also educated, because a lot of times people have no idea how music really has affected their lives.
Now, you look amazing.
Thank you.
I have to ask you, who are you wearing?
I am wearing a couture design by a young lady that I get to collaborate with. She's out of Houston, Texas. She's one of the bespoke tailors, and I go to her with an idea, and I'm like, hey, I think this would be really cool, but this was a Christmas present to me from her, and her name is Monica Velez from Stitches Couture in Houston, and so thank you for letting me shout her out.
Well, thank you. Congratulations. You are more than deserving of this reward. Thank you.